Good morning. I am so excited to do this Women of Vision this morning here at Wash FM because if you've been listening to the show for a while, you know that there aren't many guests that we repeat. We don't talk to the same people because there's so many great people who do so many great things in this area in D.C. So this lady you're going to meet this morning, you may remember from before. She was, in 2005, a Disney Elementary School Teacher of the Year. She's done so many other things. She's started off as a Montgomery County middle school teacher. And this morning we're talking, was it middle school, Dara?
No, actually it was elementary.
Elementary school. I forget the different names that we call them anymore. It used to be junior high, and now it's middle school and everything. But anyway, Dara Feldman, good morning.
Good morning, Lori. It's great to be with you today.
Well, it's always great to be with you. When I was reading about you the other day, I thought, my gosh, you have really grown so much, even though you were so amazing. You're so passionate about education and what you do and how you do it and your love and care for the kids. It's just amazing. I always received emails. That's Lori Brooks at washfm.com, by the way. And everybody always said, you know, if the world were full of teachers like you, the amazing things that would happen. We love all teachers, but you just always take a real interest in making sure the kids learn, and they learn it in a fun way, and that they're learning good things. So,
thanks.
Well, tell me about what you're doing now.
Oh, my gosh. What an amazing adventure I've been on for the past couple of years. As a result of being blessed with Disney's Outstanding Elementary Teacher of the Year, about 2 years ago, we had the Disney Professional Development. And I went up to the overall Disney Teacher of the Year, David Vixie, and I said, Dave, in your repertoire, what speaks to you so much? And he pulled out this little card with all these words on it: creativity, tolerance, compassion, respect, responsibility. It's not like I'd never seen those words before, but there was something about seeing all of them on one little card in a website that just touched my heart. So I ran up to my hotel room, I typed in thevirtuesproject.com, and I just started reading about this amazing project. It was actually exactly the intention that I had put out into the ethers about 6 months before, where I wanted to create my own Heart of Education Foundation with my husband to work with masters in spirituality and education to transform education and bring the heart back into it. And here was this project already. So I ordered everything off the website. I called for some training and some workshops, got a bunch of people to participate with me, and then just realized that, oh my gosh, this is what I've been looking for my entire teaching career. It totally transformed my world in my classroom and helped me to really reconnect with my students at a deeper level, at a more meaningful level, and to lose the amnesia of what's been going on with No Child Left Behind. So it was really allowed me to really connect and be creative again. And then I would go home and yell at my teenagers under the roof of my own home going, okay, what's wrong with this? You know, this picture's a little bit off. And so I read from the Family Virtues Guide how to set clear boundaries, and I went through some things with my own teenagers and my husband at the time so that we were on the same page. And about a couple weeks later, I realized that there was total transformation in my home. It was more peaceful. There was no more sibling rivalry. There was there was more respect and connection. And now it's 2 years later since we've been living by these 5 simple strategies for bringing out the best in ourselves. And my relationship with my family is amazing. My daughter is a graduating senior at Walter Johnson High School, and she is captain of the Pommy Squad. And this year they needed a coach, and they asked me to do it. So I am with my daughter every day and 19 other amazing young women living through and with these 5 strategies. And that's just not supposed to happen when you're a girl and you're a mom and you're a graduating senior. We're supposed to be fighting with each other. So that's just one of the blessings. But getting back to the professional piece, when I was using these 5 strategies, and may I share them with you?
Absolutely. You have so much more you had so much energy before. I feel like you've sort of harnessed that, and you are just really peaceful and confident and knowing in what you're doing.
Oh, well, thank you for that acknowledgement. And you know what? Actually, that's the first strategy. We didn't plan this, Lori, but the first strategy is speaking the language of the virtues, and it's giving a virtues acknowledgement. So in just saying, you've come a long way, Dara, or good job, it's saying specific, you know what, I really hear that you are more peaceful in the work that you're doing. Or if you're going to go out to dinner with another couple and they pick up the check, instead of just saying thank you, saying thank you for your generosity in buying us dinner. Just little tweaks, but there's just something magical about when you give an acknowledgement using a virtue and the behavior that exemplifies that virtue, people, it just goes right to the heart. And especially in schools where these students and staff, everybody, are really, really, really working so hard to be the best that they can absolutely be. But with the stress and the pressures and everything that's going on in the world right now, it's not that simple. And so we get into this place of amnesia and forget what's most important, especially as educators, to really create these whole and amazing people. And so by just changing the language that we use, it strengthens the connection. It helps kids get less defensive and makes them more available for learning. And so along with the first strategy of speaking the language, in addition to a virtues acknowledgement, it's also virtues guidance. So it might be, okay, guys, the HSAs are coming. What virtue can you call on so that you're going to be ready? Maybe it's perseverance. Maybe it's self-discipline to, brush up on some things. Maybe it's just trust that they're already as prepared as they need to be and to just trust their own knowingness. So it seems really simple, and it is, but it's extremely powerful. And the Virtues Project started about 20 years ago when the founders were talking about how tragic it is that kids are killing each other, and they felt compelled to do something. So they researched all of the oral traditions, sacred texts, and cultures of the world. And what they found was common to all of humanity were the virtues, what's good in all of us. It's not religious. I really wish the name of the project was the Virtues Project, because oftentimes people are like, oh, this is a religious project. Absolutely not at all. It's just what's good in all of us, Mm-hmm. And with schools, I chose to leave Montgomery County Public Schools last year, which really broke my heart, because I so respect Montgomery County Public Schools, and my heart is really there. But I just had this bigger vision of using these 5 strategies to help heal America, and especially to bring balance back into the educational system, helping students become smart and good, to quote Thomas Lacona and Matt Davidson. And that's really what's been driving me over the past year, where I've been volunteering my time to the founders of the Virtues Project. And I have learned so much.
Well, what are some different things that we could do in our schools to get something like this started without having, a lot of people, they hear a project and, say, we don't have the time, we don't have the money.
Exactly.
If teachers are listening right now, if parents are listening right now, how do we initiate some of these things to bring about loving, kinder, gentler, intelligent, secure children?
That's a really great question, Lori. And I would say utilizing the first and the fifth strategy of the Virtues Project. The first thing is just change our language. Instead of just saying good girl, and I know we would never say bad girl,
right,
but using the virtues acknowledgement. When you see a child working diligently on their homework, honor them for that. You know what? I really see that your diligence today in the homework that you've done. Or I really see you persevering in working on getting your, turn for your athletic competition. I really appreciate your patience when we were waiting for the test results today, or just using a different language. And it's 3-part. It's the STEM, so I see, I honor, thank you for, just the beginning of the sentence, then the virtue, and then how that child or adult has exemplified the virtue. When you're out in the stores, instead of just saying thank you to a salesperson, saying thank you for your friendly service, or thank you for your excellent service. When you go in and you're having a parent-teacher conference, to the teacher, you know what, I really appreciate your dedication to this work that you're doing, this important work. And there's just a little bit of acknowledgement goes such a long way. So the first thing is changing our language. The second thing is the fifth strategy, which is companioning, and that's being deeply present, letting somebody really empty their cup and get it all out there without us interrupting, advising, or rescuing. And so when a child comes home from school or a husband and wife walks in the door saying, you know, what's going on with you? And letting the other person just really share what's going on. And then if you see that perhaps it was a hard day, you can ask what or how questions. You know, what was the hardest thing about today? Instead of why did you have such a bad day? Because when we say why, it puts people on the defensive. So it's really important to use what and how questions. And then if you look that their eyes are welling up with tears, saying, what are those tears for? Not why are you crying, but what are those tears for? And when you say that, when you ask that question, it gives the person permission to unlock the floodgates and just everything comes pouring out. So once they have emptied out their cup and there's going to be a pearl of truth, their own truth at the bottom, then you can say things like, what virtue can you call on, or what would be helpful if you're not comfortable with that language? You know, what do you need right now? And maybe it's courage to go to the principal and say, you know, here's what's going on. Or maybe it's just detachment so that you're not going to get real flustered in a relationship that's going on triangularly with, you know, your three closest friends. And once you ask about what virtue or what do you need to, you know, call on, then you ask a closure and integration question, either saying, what's clearer to you now, or what was helpful about our conversation? Because then they're going to realize that they figured it out for themselves, which is incredibly empowering. And the last thing to seal that companioning process is to give a virtues acknowledgement. You know what, sweetie? I really do honor you for your perseverance in sticking with this, even when it's really hard.
Dara Feldman, you are amazing. Because having talked to you 2 years ago and talking to you today, it is just phenomenal. And I now feel like you could change the world. And I know people who are listening are thinking, my gosh, where does this woman get this energy? And you can just feel your passion for this. This was meant to happen for you. It's so wonderful.
Well, Lori, thank you. And it's not me. This is so not me. This is as a result of using these 5 strategies.
But it's coming through you.
Well, I'm grateful for that. You know, I'm really, really grateful. And it's coming from lots of other people. This project is in 92 countries around the world. It is just grassroots. It was founded by Linda Kavelin Popoff, her husband, Dr. Dan Popoff, and her younger brother, John Kavelin, who was a Disney Imagineer. And they've been basically volunteering their time around the world to be agents of change in education communities, schools, businesses, prisons. It's really remarkable. And the project has been honored by the United Nations as a model global program for all cultures. And Linda was stricken with post-polio about 10 years ago when she was sharing this project around the world. And in her meditation, she got these 10 rules of health. And she wrote this book called A Pace of Grace. It is amazing. And Lori, I gave it to you, and that's your homework. You don't have to read it all at once, but read it with a pace of grace, because if I can live this pace and put my first passion first and be fully present and pray every day and purify my language and my body and a whole bunch of other things, then anybody can do it. And A Pace of Grace was endorsed by the Dalai Lama. So this is really just amazing work. And there's this huge shift, this conscious shift, and I've heard it on 97.1, and I just really want to honor you guys for your, oh my gosh, dedication to putting the positive out on the airwaves. Unfortunately, that's not true of all stations. And you know, you guys, I just love listening to you and Lou, because because it is really empowering. And instead of putting people down and looking for the gossip, you guys are building people up. And that is really incredible as leaders in your industry. And so I think that we're all working together and vibrating at this higher energy, which that's what's going to help to heal the world. It's not that there's not icky stuff going on, but when we can model hope and optimism and idealism, then we can move in that direction. And the founders are celebrating their 20th anniversary in March up in Vancouver, actually Victoria, Canada. And this project you would think would be making millions and millions of dollars. It's not, because it's such heart-centered service work. So I hate to put a shameless plug out there, but if anybody wants to help and move this project along, we could use support, because people are like, where's your business plan? Where's your business plan? I'm like, well, you know, I'm just getting this next right thing that happens on a daily basis. I can't exactly tell you what the business plan is. I just know that there's another energy that's bigger than me and bigger than this project, moving this healing around the world. And I am so blessed and grateful to be on this path. You know, it's really awesome. The National Education Association came to us, the Virtues Project, to develop an online course around the virtues. That's going to help get it across the U.S.
That's fabulous.
I mean, I had a vision, but I didn't know how it was going to happen. I have a meeting in January with the Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development. They've developed the Whole Child Commission. And if anybody out there wants to help put the heart back in education, go into the ASCD.org website.
Wait, that is what? ASCD?
ASCD, the Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development. Get on board with the Whole Child Initiative, because it talks about the importance of the intellectual, social, emotional, physical, and spiritual, not God, not religious, but that which gives meaning and purpose to one's life. And that's what's missing in our schools these days. Actually, that's probably what's missing in a lot of places. And so spirituality in terms of meaning and purpose is where the Virtues Project is coming from, not religious. Actually, when Linda was the founder of the Virtues Project, was on Oprah about 10 years ago, she was sharing her book, The Family Virtues Guide. And Oprah said, this is the instruction manual that our kids didn't come with. And that's how it healed my family. That's what I read, page 32 in the Family Virtues Guide. And it really helped to transform my life at home. And so I can't say enough about the simple power of just putting positive energy out there, speaking a different language, recognizing teachable moments. So instead of shaming and blaming people when something comes up, talking about it, looking at what virtue is missing and the behaviors that we need to put it right. And, you know, that right there is very healing in and of itself. The third strategy is setting clear boundaries based on restorative justice. And so instead of, you know, sending children to timeout or to detention, it's taking some reflective time to talk and companion and say, what happened? What virtue was missing? What's it going to look like next time with that virtue? And now how can you make an amends and restore justice? And with the fourth strategy of honoring the spirit, again, that which gives meaning and purpose, not religious. What are our rites of passage, our traditions, our celebrations? How do we honor one another and each other? And so it might be time in nature. It might be art and dance and music. It might be just grabbing a cup of coffee and having a conversation with a close friend. It could be meditation. If you're religious, it could be prayer, but there's not one right way to do it. It's just important that we honor our spirit and nurture our souls. And that's how I've been living my life for the past 2 years, which has been so fun. I have never had more joy in my life than over the past couple of years. And moving forward with this project, nothing would give me greater joy than to volunteer my time to help with the schools, especially actually right here at home in Montgomery County and the state of Maryland. I was recently blessed by being elected as the president of the Maryland Center for Character Education. And oftentimes schools think, oh, character education is that touchy-feely stuff. It absolutely is not. Without performance character and moral character together, we're in big trouble. Because if you look at what happened in Columbine, the boys who did the shooting, they were 4.0 students. If people had connected with them at a deeper level and helped on the moral side of things, I don't think that we would have been in that situation.
You know, you can feel the love coming from you, Dara. You really can. And that's what I think about so many of these kids, and even, the kid who shot those people at the mall in North Dakota. It's just, your heart breaks for the loneliness that they must go through. Of course, for the families who were victims of that. But just, what puts a child so far off the deep end that they are so lonely and so hurt?
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, if we just took time just to connect, if as each morning when teachers open their door, or every period in middle and high school, and greeted the children and said, good morning, Lloyd, good morning, Lou, good morning, Danny, good morning, Jake, etc., just acknowledge them, saying their names so that they have been seen. Just that act alone makes a huge difference.
Isn't that funny? I've always believed in saying people's names. In fact, I detest when people say, it's almost like speaking about you as if you're not there, when they say, well, she'll do it. She'll do it.
Right.
Hello, my name is Lori. I feel so lost when that happens. I may as well be a calendar on the wall. So I've always thought names are important. I always ask names, and maybe that's why I resonate with this and what you're saying. But it sounds like a good thing. I feel sorry, though, and sad that we have to say that it's not God, it's not religion, because that's not, because it sounds like we have to defend that it's not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you for bringing that up, because in schools, I'll back up about the history of the project. So I told you that they did the research of the cultures, oral traditions, and sacred texts.
Right.
So they thought, how are we going to instill these in our kids? And they thought, we're going to go to the parents. So they developed the Family Virtues Guide. And in less than 2 months, the Family Guide was in over 20 countries just by word of mouth. In the Family Guide, they do mention God, and they do have quotes from major world religions. But of course, as educators, we looked at this and thought, this is fabulous, but we can't touch this in public school. So in 2000, the founders extracted anything that would be perceived as religiosity and made the Educator's Guide. Same 5 strategies, same power, but without any mention of God or religion. Because as educators, we do have to be conscious to separate church and state. But for outside of schools, having a faith in a power greater than ourselves, however you define that, I personally do believe is really important. And I'm so grateful to have that deep connection to know that, this is the work that I'm supposed to do. Yeah, it's been hard not having a paycheck for the past year, and people think that I am absolutely crazy because my husband started his own business, too, in the area of sustainability. So we're out here doing our home equity, thank God that's there, and just putting things out because we have to. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just have to do what you have to do because it's the right thing to do. And I'm really grateful to you, Lori, for this opportunity to kind of put it all out there for everybody to know that, all of us have a calling. Each individual does. And to be able to listen to that voice in your heart and say, you know what? This is who I am. This is what I'm about. And to be able to follow that passion. We're born with it. And in schools, we can nurture it or we can squash it. And I'm putting a challenge out to all educators, especially leaders in education, superintendents, to say, you know what? We are bigger than No Child Left Behind. We went into education because we have a passion for making the world a better place. Let's lose the amnesia. Let's help kids become smart and good, and let's bring the heart back into education. And that's why I started the Heart of Education, to be able to work on this. And, if anybody has questions, if I can support them in any ways, especially classroom teachers, we need to start a revolution. We need to take control back of our classrooms, our students, and what we are about and say, rigor, it's important, absolutely is, but so are relevance and relationships that right now we're just giving too much lip service to.
Relevance, and what was that?
Relationships.
Okay.
And so there's all this great research out that talks about everything that we need to be, that relationships are number one in terms of student achievement. If the students feel connected, they're going to want to be successful, and we're going to know what's going on with them. But with all this testing business and all the pressure of data, then being able to really connect in those meaningful, thoughtful ways, that gets pushed aside. And if we turn the pyramid upside down and put those relationships at the top, then all of the data would move forward, and we really would be able to close the achievement gap. And our kids' scores would soar. And that's what I found when I was at Garrett Park Elementary School, where I did focus on the rigor, but it was also the relevance and the relationships. And because of my personal experience, that's what helped me to leave a county that I really love and leave the classroom, which I really love, to be able to share my experience, strength, and hope with other educators, because when we're in the trenches by ourselves, it can be really hopeless, and we can forget what we're really about. So we can do both.
Dara, you are, ladies and gentlemen, I talked to Dara Feldman a couple of years ago. This is just a tiny, tiny part of her, and look how big and consuming this is. I get goosebumps. You are our children are so lucky to have you. And I'm sorry you're not in the classroom now, but I think you do, and here you are in D.C. Maybe this is where you need to be to get some changes. So how do other teachers, educators, parents, anybody who's interested in changing education, how do they get in touch with you?
That would be great. Well, they can call me on my cell phone. They can email me. They can go to my website. Let me give you my URL because that has all my information.
Okay.
It's www.heart, H-E-A-R-T, of education.net. heartofeducation.net. And my email is Dara, D-A-R-A _ Feldman, F as in Frank, E-L-D-M-A-N, @mac.com. And I really would love to get some businesses involved and to support and sponsor this project. Because you know what, guys, in business, these kids that are in our schools right now, they're going to be part of your workforce really, really soon, or the consumers that buy your product. So if businesses have the money to support education, then the Virtues Project is a really worthwhile place to put your support.
And the Virtues Project, that's online at what? Virtues Project?
It is, but go through the Heart of Education because I'm working directly with the founders.
Okay.
And I'm director of their education initiatives right now. I've been volunteering my time to them, and there's a lot of great changes on the horizon for the Virtues Project folks. So really, really excited. And part of my promise to them is I'm going to find us some money to fund this project so that it can be scalable and sustainable, and create DVDs and online resources so in the comfort of their pajamas, teachers can say, oh, yes, I get it, and walk into their classroom the next day and start the transformation process.
You are amazing. You need to be like in a stadium speaking, Dara. You are just phenomenal. And I've got to wrap this up because we're over time, but I have to tell you, you are so inspirational. Thank God that you are taking the path that you are, because so many more people will benefit from that. And just amazing. You make me smile, and I can't even thank you enough.
Lori, thank you for this incredible opportunity. It's not me.
Well, I have no doubt. that you will be hearing from hundreds of people. And
well, I can't wait. Bring it on. Come on, let's turn the system around and put the heart back into education.
well, you know what, DC, there's no other place in the world where people have the ambition, the passion, the compassion to do that kind of a thing. And
Absolutely.
they have somebody like you to lead. And I mean, I can hear people going, let's go. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura. I appreciate this really incredible opportunity.
Christmas morning, as your family gathers with gifts under the tree, enjoy the picture-perfect fireplace on your TV.
It's the Wash FM Washington CW Yule Log.
Christmas morning between 8 and noon, the holiday tradition continues.
See a warm, crackling hearth on Washington CW.
And hear your favorite holiday songs commercial-free.
From Washington's home for the holidays.
97.1 Wash FM.
There's no better way to study the world's best golf swings than to watch them side by side on the range. Move down the line from Arnold Palmer to Fred Couples to Phil Mickelson, and you notice not just the differences, but the similarities, like their wonderful balance, rhythm, and timing. And if you look closely as they leave, you'll notice something else they have in common: the same timepiece, a Rolex day date. Available in 18-karat white or yellow gold or platinum, the day date is put through 15 days and nights of the most grueling testing before it ever leaves Geneva. That ensures that, like these great golfers, it will perform as well in the real world as it does in practice. To see a complete selection of Rolex timepieces, visit your official Rolex jeweler.
See what a new watch can say about you at Tourneau, the world's largest watch store since 1900. Tourneau, the fashion center at Pentagon City, Arlington.
Don't miss the Toys R Us Wrap It Up 2-day sale, Sunday 7 a.m. to midnight and Monday 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. with special doorbusters Sunday 7 a.m. to noon. You'll save up to 50% off select items from the hottest brands like Crayola, Cars, Tyco, First Act, Power Wheels, Little Tykes, and more. Plus, take 40% off all table games, dartboards, and pinball machines. We're wrapping up our greatest prices of the season, so there's no better time to wrap up your toy shopping. Hurry into Toys R Us and take advantage of the Toys R Us Wrap It Up 2-day sale. And don't miss our special doorbusters Sunday 7 a.m. to noon. Save up to 50% off select items from the hottest brands for the whole family like Cars, Crayola, Tyco, Little Tykes, Power Wheels, First Act, and more. And take 40% off all table games, dartboards, and pinball machines. There's no better place to go and no better time to save than at the Toys R Us Wrap It Up 2-day sale. It's your last chance to save big on all the toys that inspire your child's imagination. Toys R Us, time for childhood. Exclusions apply. See store for details. Continental U.S. only.
97.1 Wash FM.
Playing the best variety of music
So you can sing along.
all day long.
Wash FM.
WASHFM, Washington.
Happy holidays, everybody, and welcome to